We're live and recording, and you may begin.
Thank you very much, LTV. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kathleen Cunningham. It's my privilege to chair this agency. I welcome you to the Architectural Review Board meeting of July 27th, 2023. We're barreling into August. I can hardly believe it. Member Leon is stuck in traffic, I think. She'll be joining us as soon as she's able. Chip Ray is out. So as our first order of business, I'd like to get the approval of the minutes of the July 13th, 2023 meeting. May I have a motion, please? Motion. Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so passed and carried. All right, so we have our first application is Rowdy Hall, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-171-1-14. This is for a sign in a historic district. In fact, the first two applications are for signs in the same historic district. These buildings neighbor one another. I'm just going to read a little bit from the guidelines that we are meant to be following on this so that we're all on the same page. The Amagansett Historic Districts contains a mix of historic houses, barns, community buildings, and commercial buildings in a rural setting. The essential character of the historic district is established by the 30 farmhouses dating from the 18th century through the 19th century, when Amagansett matured as a thriving agrarian community. The continuum of these farmhouses on either side of Main Street gives the historic district much of its cohesive character. The remaining barns and architectural land greatly enhance the rural setting of the farmhouses and maintain the connection with Amaganssett's agrarian past. The community buildings and historic commercial buildings occur at intervals up and down Main Street. These buildings are largely compatible with the neighboring farmhouses and contribute to the overall harmonious character of the historic district. So we have preservation goals to promote an harmonious and cohesive character for all of Main Street, maintain and enhance the elements that contribute to the overall setting of the historic houses, open front yards, traditional fences along the street, maintain the architectural integrity of the historic houses, especially of the front facades and other components visible from the street, allow additions and other changes to rear walls and in appropriate ways to sidewalls to allow the historic houses to be adapted to changing needs and lifestyles, maintain the architectural integrity of the barns and the integrity of their setting, same with the historic commercial buildings, retain the rural and informal character of the central business district characterized by a mix of building types, significant amount of open space and by spaces between buildings. Guide redevelopment of non-historic buildings in the central business district to increase compatibility with neighboring historic commercial and residential buildings and with the character of the historic district in general. That one's probably the most important one. These guidelines apply to all properties, and there are preservation goals. I won't read every last thing here because it goes on quite a bit, but there are specific categories that we're meant to be reviewing. So, they apply to both of these applications. So, these were my applications, and I see that Joe is here, and you are here. Would you like to come to the podium? And just state your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Joe Realmuto from Rowdy Hall.
Hi, Joe. Good to see you. And
Christy Kober.
Christy Kober. Hi. Both known to me. I have to confess, Rowdy Hall is one of my frequent places. My kids all work there. It's not an unknown place. So here's the thing. I know you guys submitted something yesterday with a color scheme that didn't exactly match what we thought we had in the original application. So just so you can understand, we have professional planning help, and when we post these agendas and all the application, all the material online the Friday before the meeting. So if you submit something the day before, it's really sort of not eligible for review at the next day's meeting, even though it feels like you got there in time. If it's not in by the Friday before, that means the public doesn't have the advantage of being able to see it, et cetera. And it means that we don't have the time to get the professional advice that we might need as we're evaluating the application. So Can you bring up those photos? Oh, you know what? These lovely flowers. Oh, here, you know what? We'll put them, put them down here. Oh, thank you. We can put them here. Is that good? I can see from there. Oh, that's in your way now. Okay. Do you mind? No. Okay. All right. Diane had a birthday, so we bought her some flowers. But okay, now we got it. So as you can see, this is where McKendree, it's the Main Street Tavern, whatever it is now, McKendree's Pub in my mind forever. And the proposal is beneath it. Now, you submitted some paint chips and so forth that I'll share with my members here.
Yeah, it looks awful green up there.
It
for
looks,
some reason.
yeah, and
The
yeah.
green is actually gold.
It's gold.
Yes, so what I got in the package that I was looking at, which I thought was what it says proposed here, I thought you submitted this for the color sample. Is that correct? You're not proposing the little balcony and the,
No,
that's the current.
that's the current Rowdy Hall.
no, I
Yeah, yeah.
recognize that, but it says proposed,
Yeah.
which means it would lead us to believe that you're proposing that structure for this
No,
facility.
the structure will stay exactly the same. The
Right.
only thing that's going to change is the color scheme.
Right, okay, so the color scheme appears to have 4 colors in it, and I only have 3 here. Well, 2 if you don't include the, yeah, that's right, 2. So I think we just need more clarification on what
It's just the red, the black, and the gold.
And the gold, 3 colors.
red, black, and gold. So
Red there looks pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
is there another, you know what, can you maybe pull the other one? I know we asked for a side by side. Thank you for doing that. But can you just make the proposed one a single slide, so maybe it'll change the color a little bit. I'll take those, Diane, sorry. Thanks. Hi, Minnie.
Do you have the paint chips?
Deep breath. Say again?
Do you have these,
I have these.
Okay.
But,
but not the gold?
no, the gold did not accompany the, application. And, yeah, this is the red that you're proposing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's red and black with the gold trim. But you see the way those panels on the bottom, see to on the outer edges, like there are 3 on the ones on either end of the building, that looks green.
No, yeah, it's all
It's
this,
just
it's the
the-
resolution on the way it's coming up.
Yeah,
Because the others look black,
Yeah.
but
it's just
They
the
are.
shading or
Do you
something
have
in
a-
the drawing. It's,
Does anyone, I'm sorry, do you have a print of it?
Yes.
Maybe you could circulate that would,
yeah, that might help because I didn't submit that. That's part of where we're.
Yeah, I know you guys.
Yeah,
have,
it
but I
is
have
all
a
black. It's
copy of
not
it in
green.
case
It's
you
just
don't.
got that gold stuff.
and
Okay.
The gold is the original color on the original Rowdy Hall.
Right. No, I understand. It's like your brand and those little faces. I don't know what you call
Rowdy
those.
heads.
The rowdy
I
heads.
believe it's this right here. This is one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even there, it looks kind of pink.
Here it's.
Yeah, well, I just asked that question and he said it's all black.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it just didn't come out right. Yeah, yeah.
Rendering.
Yeah. So, I know this isn't, an antique red. I'm not sure. I'm having trouble visualizing this, I guess, because it looks so pink. And I feel somehow like the contrast between the black and the red is a bolder look than are you wedded to the red? Could you darken that maybe? Make it more of a wine color? Because I think this,
So we do have other options that we looked at in terms of the red,
Mhm.
using the red on the facade. And we chose that one as the one we preferred, but we do have other
This is the one that
options.
they're.
Yeah. I mean, it's
We'd
just
like to
it's
see some
just
of our other
the,
options
okay,
From the architect.
right.
So there's this one with just red with that, and then this is how the red looks when it goes to the floor,
But it's just on the doors rather than the windows.
And then if you wanted to see the gold that we were using, you don't think you have to chip on that, it's this gold.
Yeah, Is that the same gold that's on downtown? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think everybody's been there, so they know what that color looks like, but, so these are the other options.
Right.
This is a little more discreet.
Discreet, yeah.
Is the black something that we can, I mean, is it appropriate to the historic district?
I think most things are white, but I don't know that
That's
there
what I
are.
thought were the
Yeah,
colors that.
yeah,
you know,
colors of
white.
historic buildings should be appropriate to their period and style, but
This is a non-historic.
this is a non-historic building. I'm just reading from the historic buildings. Let's see, then see there provided renderings, other colors should harmonize. I mean, I think, yeah, I think that's the problem is that we're required to make these harmonize with the other buildings, so it doesn't stand out so
Would
much.
you like us to submit the paint on something physical so you could see it in real?
Sorry, I'm having trouble.
would you like to
hearing.
see it in real?
The
Just
microphone.
speak in the mic, please, Christy.
Would you like to see the paint on material so you could see what the real colors are?
That would be helpful. That'd be helpful. I think at this point too, that, can I just see those other two samples, please?
An additional rowdy or replacing?
Replacement.
He's
We're moving it.
moving.
We're moving the
You're
location.
leaving the village.
I mean, I think it's a very welcome to have something dependable and what everybody wants in that spot. You know, it's been sort of, it used to be so reliable and then it hasn't been, and now it will be again. And so,
Well, I'm excited about the prospect of eating there. I would just like to get the color scheme worked out, so.
We're just trying to keep it as close to what it is
Yep.
right now.
My question also would be,
I mean,
I think that the rowdy in the village, it has like a little bit of a sheen, the finish also. Is that what's being proposed here
Yeah.
also? So it is not a matte black.
It's
Correct.
there, right?
So that's another thing to consider.
Yeah.
So this is,
I mean, the finish can change. It could go to a less sheen. That's not a problem.
House in the back. I'm sorry, I missed that.
I just asked if the finish was more of a sheen finish than a,
Oh, like glossy
A
versus
gloss or a
matte,
matte
yeah.
finish.
uh-huh. Yeah,
I mean, that is what it is in
it's
the
a matte,
village.
it's glossy, yeah. Yeah, I guess I was just confused because I thought that, now I lost my pages here. I've been handing these out to people, I guess. The proposed one seemed to look like, I had the sense that you sent the picture in of the downtown. Yes, God, it's right in front of me. And was this just to give us the color of the gold? Is that
Correct.
right here? Because I thought you were going to do.
And that's also
Green.
the sign itself, the Rowdy Hall. We're going to actually take it from its location and bring
Oh,
it over
really?
there.
The
Every-
lower one.
Yes, on the
There are
building, not on
two.
the
There's one
balcony.
on the
Not
balcony.
on-
Yeah.
Just the one on the building.
We'll see.
so I have a question. So there's an alley to the right, a public walkway.
Yes,
So it's visible from the street, the color, the side of the building. What do you envision the color of the side of the
We
building?
would just wrap the black all the way around,
Mhm.
keep it uniform, because it's a green color right now.
You know, pass that down.
I have some pictures.
Oh, okay.
here. You could go to the photos that I've taken, please, Dan.
It's the same, so we would paint the cinder blocks the same color as the building,
Okay,
as it is now, but, you know.
so it would be black. Okay,
You have pictures that show the context?
yeah, I have more. You could just scroll through the pictures that I took. Yep, keep going.
I mean, it's pretty dark now, actually.
Yeah, it's a dark green, but there are white
Window
accents.
frames and everything are.
Yeah, the
dark.
window frames are black. I think this is, what we're looking at is reasonably compatible. Could you keep going? I think I took one from out in the street where I got because there are fixtures along the east side of the building that I pictured in there, did I not?
Which are the same as these?
Yes, yeah, there we go. So I guess I didn't get it from across the way. But yeah, so. Sorry?
Yeah, just.
Yes. Oh, you want to see this too? Okay. Thank you. We're just looking, Frank has pulled it up online, so we're just looking here at the context.
And it's not that the other buildings are so beautiful.
No, but the color,
Right.
black recedes, I get that,
Yes.
but everything else is light.
Yeah, I don't mind the gold. I feel like my preference would be for this version
Yeah,
with the least amount of red, because I think that contrast, I could even live with this, I think.
Yeah, I think that.
But I think the windows are too much, and because it's becoming like a multicolored thing, and that's not a traditional. It's the historic district. I'm sorry to say, it's the historic district. That makes it harder to do what you want to do, I think. But that would be my suggestion. Anybody else?
and the red, could it be more of a brick red to match the?
I think isn't that
Look
Yeah,
like brick red.
that brickish?
Does that look brick red to you?
No, but how pretty.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, deep. Well, I was suggesting like a wine, even like a darker, like a maroon, Yeah.
Dark.
Right.
I think that's a hue related to the brick.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's a good suggestion. Hello. Okay, so Esperanza is suggesting this is not a good
No,
color palette to choose from, but that if you could find a red hue that matched the brick, that would coordinate, that would be better coordinated,
Brickier.
a brickier hue, a brickier red. So, yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Frank?
Well, my initial impression is there's a lot of contrast
Yeah.
in color. And two things is that I would prefer, first of all, there are three colors, and I wonder whether there are too many colors going on. And the second one is I'd be concerned about the black. I think there's a place for black, but particularly given that alley, that black can become kind of severe. And it's like, I kind of wish that the color palette would just sort of tone down a bit. That would be my preference. Something that was a little more sort of maybe like a dark gray that had a little more
Softer.
green in
Yeah.
it, maybe just like a dark grayish with a tint of green, something like that, instead of black. I think to me this might work well in like a English village along the Thames, but I'm not sure it's going to work in Amagansett. I mean, I see where the spirit of it, and I think it's kind of fun and cool, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it
Well, it's
sticks
just the
out on Main
identity of
Street.
our restaurant for over 25 years.
No, we
so-
understand
No,
that.
no, we get it.
That's why we're trying to do the same thing.
Right.
That's it.
I
have a question.
I have,
If we decide not to use red at all, do we have to go through this process again?
yeah, you need
If we
our,
decided just to remove, if we decide that we think that the color red with, that matches more closely the brick, isn't the sort of aesthetic or identity for our brand, and we just want to
That's
do
fine.
all black,
that's fine.
would we would go through the process again? And
Yes.
you would approve just all black instead of the,
Well, I think we'd have to see it. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
that part of the
understand.
problem with this board is that everything has to be visualized in some way. And it's not like it's not like a site plan or it's
Right.
drawn on a piece of paper. So we would have to see it. And I think that, I think you're headed in the right direction by eliminating one of the colors, especially if you don't feel that the red and the brick works for you.
I was just as
no
as
idea.
a concept.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wanted to
No, but
understand.
you're gonna have to come back with a different color scheme in whatever you choose. The other thing that might help is maybe I mean, I think Frank's comments are, I agree with what he's saying in terms of the black being a little severe, especially on that one wall, which will collect a lot of heat too in the summer when, in the later part of the day. But I mean, the earlier part of the day. I wonder if the surround, the gold surround on the panels beneath could be done a little differently, or, you know, a thinner line so it doesn't jump out so much. I think I like the top. I like the way Rowdy Hall looks, and I get two heads there and that nice rectangle border in the gold. But I don't know if replicating the gold at the bottom it feels, it distracts my eye from your business sign.
So those are actually frames, like the wood.
Yeah,
So
they're panels.
right? So
Yeah.
maybe we don't paint the whole.
Whole thing.
Or do it thinner,
thinner.
do a much thinner line, which would be, you know, it would enhance that feature, that architectural feature, which is, I think, what you're trying to do. But right now it feels a little too bold to me.
It's all, I mean, as you know, it's also in 2Ds because there's some depth to them.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know,
You know, I saw the building. I
Yeah.
get it. But I'm just saying, you know, work this out with whoever your architect, whoever you're consulting with, because I think it's a little too, you know, it's a little too much the way it is now. And see if you can't work some other color into those doors.
Do you have this drawing as well?
Yes.
This one is a little bit less.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, we did. That's the one we were suggesting that,
Okay.
yeah. Well, no, you just gave it to us now.
Yes.
Yeah, but that and the one where there's just the doors, I think we favor that. If you would eliminate the red on the windows, I think you'd be going in a better direction. But I would suggest trying to eliminate the red altogether and come up with some other, or maybe
Maybe limiting the gold is what you're saying.
well, I think they should limit the gold anyway.
Yeah.
I think the gold should be limited.
So black with a thinner gold.
Yeah, with
Similar,
it
are
on
you
the bottom.
suggesting similar to
Uh-huh.
this? Where, and the doors, you have the picture in front of you, I believe. So where the doors are, there's a thinner gold line,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're suggesting?
See that
Oh, yeah, yes.
rather than that.
Perfect. Yes, I think that would be a much better, I think that would look better. It's more, it's,
Even in the top where the sign is also though?
well, maybe. I mean, I don't mind
Well,
the
'cause
sign.
I mean,
Yeah.
my wonder is which part is the sign? Because I understand it's an
Ah.
architectural element, but then.
Oh, yeah, then you do get into the 32 square feet. Okay. That has to be measured if that's your
Okay.
sign.
I know that. this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
So
Sign.
this is not the sign, this whole thing becomes a sign?
Well,
We would have, that would have to be determined. I don't,
32 square feet, you know.
well, she's raising the question, which is.
it's a question. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
yeah.
that it is.
What do you think, David? I mean, is that whole piece at the top considered the area for the sign? I'm paying no attention to the time here.
Yeah.
I'm just-
It's part of the
And
architecture.
that's the building.
I think it's just.
It is, but by.
I would look at our previous approvals for this building to
Okay.
answer that question.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And
because the
I
Main
think that
Street
we've just
Tavern
done
is
it by the
Similarly, yeah.
text.
Okay, well, we'll find that out for you, but
I'm pretty confident we have because that would exceed
Yeah.
the limit
Right,
of the. under
yeah,
the
that
code.
makes sense. But yes, so I would, yes, make the gold around those 6 panels thinner and try to come up with a different color in the red, like a deeper red, or eliminate the red.
I sort of like the red doors.
Okay, well,
My suggestion.
who likes
would be-
red doors? Do you like the red door?
I would say
So much red.
try to see what you can do with 2 colors.
Yeah, I agree.
3 seems to be a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
May I ask you, but do you think that the building would serve the aesthetics better if the sidewall is the same color as the building or a complementary color that's not? Because I feel like I hear a couple of things, like the black wall down the alley is gonna be too severe, it's gonna be too dark, or it's gonna be too hot. But we felt like it should be the same color as the
Yeah,
building.
I think it should be the same
Are
color.
you, okay,
Yes, but if it's the same color, then it has to be black is basically what we're going toward.
Is this black? Is this black now,
It
Tom?
is.
It always looked green to
It's
me.
also, let's say that.
Like
this
a
is
really
much
deep
smaller
green.
facade,
Yeah.
Tucked back
I
in
think
an
the shine
alley. It's a
is
very
very
different location, so we can't really.
No, I'm just
compare that,
I'm just
right?
looking at it color wise. It's just but I'm just trying to, because in my mind, this is a very dark green. I go there.
Black.
Well, there you go.
I would say the color of the building is what is the background of the 3 panels in back, down the bottom. Like that I would call, it was basically the background color here is the color of the building, and I think that should wrap the building.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right,
So we'll resubmit
please do. Yes.
pictures.
Okay,
With
that'd be great.
those suggestions.
That'd be great. And yeah,
Could they submit more than one, like a few schemes that,
yeah, if you can come
Yeah,
up
of
with a
course.
couple of different
Absolutely.
options, that would be great, because that'll help us move it along a
Do
little
you
bit.
think that it would be valuable for us to bring the paint on the material as well?
Sure. If it's
Definitely.
not too much trouble, I think it would be helpful, because
Well, if it'll
clearly
help the
we're not
process-
getting.
It'll help the process. That'll-
Yeah, it will. And it'll expedite things if we don't have to ask, or try to figure that out at a later date.
Sure.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sure I have a spare. I have, let's see. Okay, I'll leave you this. Next up is the Glamour Nail Salons of Kenny Tax Act number 300-171-1-15. Is Victoriano Gavilanes here, or a representative? Hi, are you Victorio?
Yes.
Am I pronouncing your name correct? Victoriano?
The Victoriano Gavilanes.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah.
So you, can you pull these photos up for us, please, Dan? This is a submission for a sign in the neighboring building in the historic district and the commercial district in Wings, in Amagansett. Dan's getting the pictures for us now. So anyway, the photos are important. The proposal, I'm a little confused by your submission, sir, in that your proposal shows a sign on the roof, but the windows and door are covered with signage. There we go. Okay, so the door, there's all this stuff painted on the door. And can you scroll through? There we go. There's the window. And the proposed sign is supposed to go up on the roof there. Is that correct? Mr.
Yeah,
Gavilanes?
yeah, the sign over there, go on the roof.
Yes. So, but everything that's painted on the windows presently is considered a sign under our town code. So right now you exceed the amount of permitted signage. You're allowed 32 square feet.
Okay,
Oh, wait, isn't it? It's 20 square, sorry, 20 square feet in the historic district. So it's even less. So your proposed sign is bigger than permitted. This is 3x7, it's 21, it's a little over 21 square feet. And I think you're going to have to resubmit something for us. Your property is located in something called an historic district here. So we need the signage to be more modest and the colors to be more in keeping with the general harmony of the streetscape there. So I think the font that you're using is, you're going to have to change the font, make it a little more formal looking. And you're going to have to make it smaller, and you're going to have to remove all the signage in the windows and on the doors.
okay,
Okay, so if you can resubmit something to us.
but we can put some sign in the window or no?
No, you can, but then you can't have a roof sign. You can only have 20 square feet of signage anywhere on your business.
Okay,
So that's, for argument's sake, it's a 4x5 foot sign. Okay,
okay,
and that you can put that where you like, or you can break it up into smaller
smaller.
10 square feet. But you can work that 20 square feet out however you like.
Okay,
But I would recommend that you propose a more formal font and a different color scheme.
different color.
Okay.
Because this one's already in excess of what is.
It's already in excess, yes. You already have way too much on your
No,
windows.
but I mean, what is proposed?
Yes, I said that.
Okay,
Yeah, I
sorry.
said that already. What he's proposed is over the 20 square feet. It's roughly 22 square feet, so it's a little bit too big.
So the sign is too big too.
The sign that you're proposing is too big.
Okay,
It needs to be smaller, not a lot smaller, but
like
it has to equal 20 square feet
20 square feet.
maximum at
The window and the sign.
right. And then if you're going to use that sign on the roof, you have to take everything off the windows and doors.
Okay,
Okay?
but what about if I'm not using that on the roof?
Excuse me?
If I not put that in the roof, just on the.
If you don't put that on the roof,
Yeah,
Just do the decals
yeah,
on the windows?
yeah, the windows.
you're still going to have to, those signs are not, the signs on your windows are not in keeping with the historic district either, because it's the same, it's basically the same thing. Can you show those photos, please, again? You know, there's, you know, pink and there. Yeah. So you'll have to, you know, you've got to, you're going to have to decide which parts of these you want to keep. I would remove the butterflies.
We like to keep the, you know, the what we do,
Right.
we do over there, so.
I understand. I'm going to refer you to the planning department, and maybe Dan or someone at the planning department can help you better with this, because we can't design this for you. We
Yeah.
can tell you whether your submission is code compliant, and we
Yeah.
can give you an approval, but it's not, we do make recommendations on color and so forth, but I think all of your, you know, I didn't measure it, but those windows are fairly big. I would say they're 6 or maybe it's probably 12 feet across in the front and maybe 5 or 6 feet high. So you've got a ton of signage there, and that doesn't include the door. So you'll have to work out what you have there and then winnow it down to the small, to what you're permitted. And as Diane says, what you really want to advertise. Okay, yes.
And, you know, if I do a little more smaller, all the things.
The roof?
Even that, no, all the signs, but a little more smaller, you know, not like that big.
You can put a small, excuse me, you can have a small signage in the window if it equals 20 square feet.
20 square.
That's all you're permitted in the historic district.
Okay,
And right now you're well in excess of that. And even your proposed roof sign is too big. So you've got to kind of go back to square one and start over. And I think if you call the planning department, they'll be able to help you figure out what you can put in there. But I would also recommend not using hot pink. That's not a historic color. I guess the gold might be okay. I don't know how other board members feel, but I don't want to make any judgments on this, because I think you're going to have to come back to us with something completely different.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no, I don't think we can really give you too much advice on this tonight.
gold and black, that because it's the gold and you know, in the back had a little black. So
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
What, it's outlined in black?
yes, a London black.
Right, yeah. Well,
I don't have any problem with outline in black, but it's the colors.
But you know, the gold is not working
I think the issue is not only the gold, but also the font and then the size and all of that together. And you have an excessive amount of signage to begin with that's not
Yes,
compliant.
and the butterflies.
okay.
Yeah, yes, the pink butterflies, the hot pink butterflies. Okay, so if you can just resubmit.
All right.
We'll try to get you on as soon as we
I'm
can.
gonna try to take out the,
Okay, and just call the planning department. They'll be able to help you.
okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. All righty, next up is number 3, Virginia Gott DeSimone.
I'm her husband.
Well, welcome, Mr. DeSimone. I assume that's your name. Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-24-1-29. Now I'm going to start this section off by reading from our code on fences, berms, and gates. With the recent rapid growth of the town has come a proliferation of high berms, fences, and walls, especially in residential areas. While these structures often provide a means for the property owner in which they are located to achieve privacy, the benefits achieved are often outweighed by the public harm done. Setback, siting of massive or opaque structures close to property lines and roads defeats the light and air basis for required yard setbacks imposed upon other structures. Historic and rural character. The presence of such structures diminishes the visual attributes of the town by obscuring long vistas and views of natural and man-made features basic to the town's character, including historic buildings set close to roads and by creating a walled-in urban look. Safety, by destroying sightlines and eliminating open areas along streets and highways, such structures can make intersections more dangerous, increase the hazard to pedestrians and animals, and create blind driveways wherever they appear. In addition, where legitimate needs for privacy exist due to proximity to streets or other dwellings, for example, it can usually be achieved with hedges, shrubs, or other living fences carrying little of the negative impacts set forth above. It is thus prudent to place restrictions on the size and location of berms, fences, and walls, and to subject certain of the same to a reasonable level of review and scrutiny by local agencies in order to ameliorate the effect which they would otherwise produce individually and collectively on the town. Okay, so thank you for listening to that. This application has been before us a couple of times, and this is Frank's.
Okay. So if you could bring up the photos just to refamiliarize people with this. So this is an application for a gate at 247 Kings Point Road in East Hampton in the Clearwater neighborhood. The property runs between Kings Point Road and the bluff along water's edge overlooking Gardner's Bay. It should be noted that because this property faces the bay, the water side of this property is considered the front yard, and the street frontage where the gate is being proposed is the rear yard. So this application came before us about 6 weeks ago, where the applicant was requesting approval for fencing and a gate that was in that iteration exceeding 6 feet. We asked for, we discussed that the owner could build fencing 6 feet as a right, so that's no longer as part of my understanding as part of this application. So this application before us is for just the gate. So we asked for them to come back to both limit the height of all components of the gate to a max to 6 feet, and to narrow the pillar width to a maximum of 12 inches. Also to keep and to make the gate no more than, or at least 50% transparent. So the owner came back, and I'll give you the chance to explain this. So the owner came back in June 26th with a letter to us and a design for a gate that does by and large conform to our requests.
It wasn't that one.
It wasn't that one, but subsequent to that, we received a letter dated July 10th, and I'll let you explain this more, where the applicant would like to propose something different than there was. So they provided images of it. We don't have an elevation drawing, but I'll let you explain.
Okay, thank you. So what we submitted, I think after the 30th letter that we got in May, there were 3 items. One, the pillars and the fence shouldn't exceed 6 feet. The pillars themselves shouldn't exceed 12 inches in width. We were 19 inches at the time, and that you had to have 50% space.
Transparency,
We
right.
submitted this to you, which was a rather simple design that I'm sure you wouldn't have any problem with. I don't know if you have that in the file.
Yep.
But that was submitted in June. Okay. And then I got the crazy idea that I wanted to be a little bit, our house, as you could see, is a modern house. And we thought, let's do something a little bit more modern. And I took this photo, brought it to your offices, and I said, with this photo, if I put this within the framework of this particular design, would it be sufficient? And I was told that it should be. Okay. I have since, however, had a draftsman put together what it would look like, okay, in scale. And this is, can it come up a little closer? unfortunately, the small boxes represent air.
Mhm,
So we're up to 6 feet on the pillars,
mhm.
no more than 12 inches wide. I think this is 11. The width, when they're open up, would be 14 feet, 4 inches. And the spacing, if within the framework of, if you don't include these outer areas here, it's 81% space.
Mhm.
If you do include the entire thing, it's 8% space.
Okay, well,
So
that
I
meets the
think
criteria,
with
yeah.
this, and I can give you I have copies of this that I can give
Yeah,
you
that'd
for
be
your
great.
file,
Okay.
but I think it hopefully is acceptable.
You can go back to the mic. It helps the people at home be able to hear you.
So a couple questions. What would it be painted or natural wood?
Yeah, that's
Could be painted.
White?
color.
No,
Okay,
the house is beige,
okay.
so take on the color of the house.
You paint it beige. Okay.
Go back to the house, you can see the house color. We don't want it to stand out too much. There's no white in our house.
Yeah.
It's either, the mullions are all bronze and the house is beige.
I will say, I think if it's going to be something that's not white, something like a beige, we're going to need to see like a color
Sample,
It's
yeah.
just
Or if
the
it
way
was
the
natural
process
wood, is it a wooden gate? Is it made out of wood or is it a?
Made out of wood.
Would you consider leaving it natural?
I hadn't thought of it, but I guess I could consider it. Why would the color be a problem?
Well, it just helps. The natural wood will age and weather and blend in better in the way that you were saying you don't want the white, you don't want it to stand out. Natural wood weathers in such a way that it sort of blends into the, the surrounding vegetation.
And it could be kind of beige.
Yeah, and I think it might weather to a compatible color to your house.
It could even be more of a clear coat or stain
Yeah,
that would
right.
preserve it to a.
Well, the only other thing is that it is a modern home. It's not one that has a rustic feel at all.
Your design is not rustic.
No, it's hardly rustic.
So I don't think that the finish would, impact that so much.
Yeah,
It would probably, I would say, I mean, you can continue to stain it every year, but it would probably over time just silver out.
How about if I stained it
So
the darker color of the
So-
mullions?
I was going to say, you have an accent color on the house.
Yeah.
It's darker. That's one option you could do if the board felt that the matching the house was a little like they weren't
it looks
prefer
light
something
to
else.
me. I'm not seeing beige in this. Maybe it's just the lighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look beige.
Well, it's
no.
off-white. I mean, I don't see it.
Would you be, that would be one option, I guess you could consider is matching the trim.
I would do that.
Is,
That sounds nice, actually.
That might work.
I could do that, no
What do you
problem.
think about that, Mooney?
In fact,
Okay.
that's a good suggestion.
I'm in terms of the design, so I'm curious what other people say, but I think it's interesting. I appreciate.
I'm okay with the design.
So many gates are just all the
Yeah,
same, and I
yeah.
appreciate.
No, and I think it meets the criteria. I don't have any problem with that.
And
At first I was kind of like, oh, but I think when it's closed, and I think part of the problem I'm having within this picture is that it's white. So it kind of jumps off, even though it has plenty of transparency, as you point out. But I'm having a problem with the color. But if you're willing to, soften that, excuse me, the appearance, I think that would work for me.
I think it's much more open than the one that you.
Yeah, than the
Just have-
proposal. Yeah.
Just again,
Well, I think your idea is a good one, and we could stain it,
Mhm.
stain the natural wood so that it has more of a wooden feel to it,
Mhm.
but then it would also match the
trim.
mullions in the house.
Yeah, that's great. That would work.
So that's,
Yeah.
I buy it.
Okay, great.
So my question is, for the board, in terms of process, can we approve that?
Yeah, with a condition, I think, right, David? We can approve it conditionally. Yeah.
We don't need a sample. Can we just see the photos of the house so we know the color we're getting?
Yeah, that would be good because I'm not
Go
really.
back to the house
seeing
photos.
Is there any way to
See
zoom
if
in?
there are any more. Don't have.
You said it was sort of a bronze, but I'm not, oh,
There we go.
like that, yeah.
It's a standard sort of dark bronze you see on a window.
Is that, okay, so it's darker, it's quite dark.
Yes, it is.
Like,
I think that's preferable.
Yeah.
I think it's preferable because that'll
That's great.
fade in. I'm good with that. Yeah, okay.
We did discuss that. I like the
Okay.
idea.
All right, great.
Okay.
So when,
All right.
make a motion? and
So-
condition it?
also, we're gonna need that drawing.
Yeah,
I have 3 copies I'll leave
Okay.
with you.
So
well, yeah, it's submitted to Julie, who's our
I will.
secretary.
I'll
and
give
then
it to her
she'll-
right after this
Okay,
meeting.
that'd
so
be
do
great.
I say the design as presented and during the meeting?
Well, he presented the photos. he just didn't give us an elevation until now.
Okay, I would say the elevation submitted.
Yeah.
um,
fine.
photos
That's fine.
during-
During the meeting. Sure.
Okay,
And with the condition that it's painted, the gate is painted,
painted or stained?
stained,
Stained?
if that's what it is, stained to match the trim on the house.
Mhm.
And maybe give us a color for that.
I'll do that.
Yeah, if you can just submit that, because we'll have to make a resolution for this at our next meeting and we'll need those details so that when you want to get your C of O, it'll be,
But I can go ahead with the construction of this.
you should be able to, yes, but you need to submit that stuff to us so we have the record of it.
Got it.
Can
Okay.
I just see the drawing?
Sure.
I just want to check it if there's, and what's the depth of the gate? Just, did you all talk about that?
5 inches.
Okay,
4 or 5 inches, actually.
okay. I appreciate the scale of the drawing. It's nice to see.
I had a professional draftsman. do
Okay.
this.
That's great.
Here's a critical dimension, is that we need to know,
Oh, what the gap
I
is.
need to know, this is to scale, so we could go by this.
It's 89 inches.
So this is 72. We'll just have to go by this drawing scale wise, what
6 inches.
this is the dimension that is most critical to us. What's the frame of the,
Oh, the frame will be 6 inches less than the
Okay.
ground.
okay,
So it's.
Because it'll match the
5 feet
pillar and the
6.
pillar is.
so I'm gonna call this
Oh, we're back. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Mhm.
Da, 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 da. Thank you, Ann. Our IT girl. She's our it girl. And hi,
Hi,
good to see you.
Galante.
All right, we're live again.
Oh, just now?
Apparently. Okay, well, we're on Gannett LLC, 300-173-33.4. Okay, Diane and Jean is here for
Okay,
LBS.
this is an application for a driveway gate and a pedestrian gate on Handy Lane, which is south of the highway, right before
Cross
bike
highway?
shop.
Cross Street.
Cross highway?
No,
Right before the bike shop
Abraham's
corner.
Pass, right before
Well,
Abraham's
yeah,
Pass.
so to the right.
Anyway, it is, it's a brand new development. That I think it's important to note. It's a brand new development and there are maybe 8 new houses and maybe 1 or 2 little existing houses.
It's
And,
the old Poseyville.
It's a subdivision.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
it's
that.
a new
Well,
subdivision.
anyway, it's a shame that these seem to be some of the first people that have moved in. And they built this wall-like gate without any thought to the future of what this new community might look like. It is a, well, there's a,
There it
there it
is.
is partly open.
Mhm.
I mean, it's 1 inch higher than 6 feet,
Mhm.
but it's a wall. It isn't a gate, it's a
Mhm.
wall.
Mhm.
And then to the left of that, there's a pedestrian gate that's also a small wall. I think, yeah. And so this unfortunately will set the tone in the neighborhood and perhaps the other 7 houses,
Which are very close
which are
together.
very, very close together, will all want to do this and it will just look horrible. So, so I feel really strongly that this board is not going to approve this in any way, shape or form. And the fact that maybe if you took out every other board and made it even 50% transparent, I don't know even that would do the trick. It's the problem of setting the precedent in this new little neighborhood that I think is the real sticking point, you know?
Yeah, I think
How
the
fun.
exact point that you're bringing up, that they're the first ones in there, or the reason that they put something up. As you know, everything's under construction there and everything's for sale. And
Yes.
people are walking onto their property thinking maybe their house is for sale. Trucks are pulling in, so they sort of did it largely for, well, to keep people off their property without thinking through perhaps the 50% transparency would be a better way to go, or maybe a different style altogether. But that was sort of the genesis of what brought them to put the,
How far off the street line is it? How far into the property is it? Is it 20? Yeah, is it 20 feet in?
no, I don't think it is. I'd have, let me pull the survey out. I can look on the survey, which you should have a copy of.
And
The houses are, this one in particular, it's pretty much right on the road.
Yeah.
so that would mean it's in the town's right of way? If it's not 20 feet
I
in,
think the gate is built on the property line.
okay. But then the call box
The
is,
call box.
call box is not depicted on the survey, right? Even though it's in the photo.
Yeah, but gauging from the photo, it's outside the property line.
Okay. So the call box isn't on the property, so that would have to be addressed.
Where is Handy Lane again?
The
Just
entire
remind me.
gate should be rethought myself.
Right before Brent's on the right.
Yeah, it's not marked on the
Yeah, it's a
Distance.
subdivision that happened. in
unless I'm missing it and I don't see it on the survey.
7 or 8 lots.
No, it's
But
very
which
crammed
side
in.
of that intersection?
It's to the right, south of the right.
I took another,
Highway, so if you're going through.
I took
like
another
going
photo
Before the-
of sort of the
Towards Indian Wells, you
cul-de-sac.
pass Brent's on the
Oh,
left.
no, before that, before the light, before Brent's.
So it's north of the
Before
highway.
the
So you
bike
can
shop.
see how
You're on,
close together the
I
houses
think you're
are.
traveling on Abrams.
Oh, yeah, here you go. No, I've driven down there. It's, when you drive in here, it has a slight slope right in the road, and then you come down and you just have this
Right, massive development.
development, to
Right.
use Paul Goldberger's term, shoehorned into,
Right.
houses shoehorned into
Right.
these lots.
Okay, well, I'm disinclined toward this gate at all. If they want to put a gate up, I think we should recommend they put a 4-foot gate. I don't think they need a 6-foot gate. They can do a 4-foot gate as of right. We would ask them to, I'd like them to remove the gate, but if, and they have to put the call box on their property. It can't be in the right of way.
Yeah, I found a better picture, which you should have too. It probably is 20 feet. It's not marked on the survey.
Yeah, we have
And I
it.
don't have my ruler.
Yeah, I think we were able to determine that it's probably right on your property line. But the call box is the issue. That's in the right of way, so that's no good. And I just read this section from the code, Gene, for this purpose. We're trying hard not to have, the historic and rural character. Presence of such structures diminishes the visual attributes of the town by obscuring long vistas and views of natural and man-made features basic to the town's character, including historic buildings set close to roads, and by creating a walled-in urban look. I understand people make investments here and come from a different place, but we're not the city, it's why people like it here. And we can't keep turning these things into urban communities. We're going to lose all the character we've worked so hard to defend. I know you live here, I know you get it. So, I don't know, Diane, do you want to make some kind of a motion? I'm prepared to deny this, but I think that maybe you would come back with something else. Yeah.
Something that's,
If they were to take it down to the 4 feet that you're suggesting in as of right and removed every other slat, would they be able to keep the 2 structures that they do have, the gate and the fence, and
if
bring
they
it
take it
down?
down to 4 feet, they can.
They take it down to 4 feet, definitely. But they have to get the call box out of the right of way.
Right away.
Yeah, that's not, that's not negotiable. Those other 2 things, you could come back with a different design and they can bring it down to 4 feet and that would work. But the call box has got to be addressed.
And you're not inclined to work with them at all on 6 feet?
No. I'm not.
No.
Is someone else?
No,
I think it's
To me, it would have to be like,
you have to go and see it.
it would have to be, no, I can envision that. It would have to
No,
be a
the whole
very
place.
transparent, but with basically a very minimal frame with an agricultural fencing.
I still
like
think you
these.
need to go and see the
Yeah,
whole,
it's such a
the whole
clustered
context,
development.
really.
Yeah, I get it.
All
It's just-
it's going to
No,
be is
really.
fences and gates. It's really tiny.
So,
Okay,
listen, there's the reason we have zoning codes. and
Yeah.
This is it.
yep.
Sure.
Okay, sorry, that's,
I don't think you're very
we're not
surprised.
voting on it. She's going to come back with something
No.
else. Okay.
oh, incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to warn everyone, I have to leave here at 10 of 6.
Well,
Yeah, no, it's 5 o'clock. We're good, but I'm just telling everybody. So we're on number 5. Did you have anything else for us, Jean? I'm sorry.
No, I don't, but.
You're on the next one. Perfect. Okay, I like when things roll. I like efficiency, Okay, so Wasserstein Estate, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-189-5-10.4. This is a ag overlay application.
There.
We are already there. Can you imagine?
So,
And I'd like to I'll introduce the architects and let them speak to the project.
Sure,
They'd be able to answer your questions.
sure. Well, yes,
well, yeah,
but
may I
Esperanza,
just
first,
introduce the application.
yes, first thing we do is the protocol here, sir, is that our board member will review the application and then we'll hear what you have to say, okay? Thank you.
So this is an application for the agricultural overlay district. I will note that the application, it circles fence, wall, berm, pillar, or gate existing. So just so you know, on the application, that's what the fee was paid, which is the same as just an ag overlay district proposed project. Nonetheless, I would just wanted to point that out. The proposed project is increasing the first floor terrace by 1,613 square feet. Proposed underground addition of 946 square feet, a proposed cellar entry at 203 square feet, and a proposed second floor 581 square foot deck with a fireplace. This is in the A5 zoning district. This is a subdivision from the late 90s. We received all of the documentation regarding this subdivision, and it has an agricultural reserve area. It has scenic and conservation easements and all sorts of fun stuff. I'm just trying to remember, because I feel as if we had reviewed something related to this property in the past, and your letter from June 7th indicates, your letter to our chair indicates this letter is in response to our letter of incomplete application. So I'm confused because I didn't review this before.
Department and it was deemed incomplete.
I see. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
It's not the pool house, it's a separate lot.
It's a separate lot. This is lot 3.
Right.
Okay, so we did look at
We did look at that.
lot 4.
We have looked at it, lot 4, a couple of times.
Okay,
And
that's
your
That's one.
Yeah, okay.
that's what I was.
Yeah, you're right. I was having hints of it too, but I couldn't
Okay.
remember either.
So what is this that we're looking at?
So this is the existing residence. This is right on the ocean front, right by the Amagansett Double Dunes. And so the lot that Frank has reviewed in the past is north of this. So this is, yeah, you go down, it's like I guess a flag lot, if you will.
I get the confusion too, because the architecture does relate to each other. They do look similar, so I can see that.
It did take me a little while to get in there.
I apologize for that. On behalf of the family, I heard there was some confusion today, so
Yeah.
we want to apologize for that. I know you have to wait.
They were very apologetic. It's just that, yeah, it was difficult. But okay, so I did speak with someone from the family today, which
Okay.
was an interesting conversation, because I was told that, in fact, they were kind of not interested in so much in pursuing the terraces, but definitely the underground addition. So if you would actually, we can run through all of the renderings. I'm a little confused about the addition.
And that's news to us as well. They left off that they wanted to get all the permits in place and then they would decide how they would phase it. So I don't know if they were speaking to that or.
Yes, I think that's possibly the case, but
Okay.
when I was there, and if you could just go through the pictures of what I took, of the location of the terraces, there's a tree on the west side there, this tree,
It's a pretty little
which
thing.
I indicated would seem to me would be lost if the addition
They were
were.
very clear not losing that tree. So the
So
covered
how-
porch that we're gonna propose picks up with that roof line and comes through and actually saves the tree. They
Okay,
want the tree to still stay there. They want the feeling of the tree near the deck.
okay.
They are definitely, they didn't want to touch that at all. They didn't even want to touch a limb. And I said, I think we might have to take that one limb,
Right, it would seem to me it was very close. That's why I was asking that
but the tree
question.
is proposed to stay.
To stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hesitate to like interrupt an architect's presentation, but is there any interior gross square footage being proposed here above grade?
None above grade.
So it's all decks and terraces.
And
Correct,
then
but
the
the below
underground.
grade is finished. The below grade addition to the north is finished space. But that's below grade.
Okay, so
Because I think our
above
GFA
grade-
is maxed out here.
It's
Above
all
grade, it's
covered
all
porch.
covered porch and deck space. There's no addition to the house architecturally. We're just adding on deck. Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you just take us
Okay,
through
do
actually
you,
then?
do you want to start on the
look
southern
at-
side, the terrace and the covered porch first, or do you want
Yeah.
to start? Okay,
Let's look at the renderings and we can always go back to the pictures.
It's gonna take me a second.
and the intent is to pick up with the original terrace and the original covered porch and just make them a bit more user friendly. Because right now that, I think you were there, you saw that whole western wing, it's not really attached to anything else. It's kind of lost. So we want to make it more connected to the whole entertaining space. So that's kind of that's what brought about this whole change.
Yeah, I was just curious though, because those are just, they're bedrooms, right?
There's a bedroom on the second floor, but everything else is a big, huge barn similar to this.
The
It's a living
lower
room.
level, right underneath that second story bedroom looked to me like it was a nursery of some kind. And I think that's what
That's
it's.
one big great room,
Okay.
the first floor.
Mhm.
Now they are short for space and they have a lot of kids, so they may have like a temporary crib there or something.
Yeah, I did.
But
I mean, I wasn't looking.
that is one big
in, I
family
just
room
saw,
space,
like,
similar to this
it looked
double
like a
height.
changing table in there. So I just wondered because I knew that the upstairs, the program was the bedroom. So I was curious because the renderings, as we go through, you will see. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend, but it just seems like it looks like a hotel all of a sudden with like 6 tables. It looks like a cafe, and then that upper level added terrace has a lot of furniture and just it seemed to add a lot of
Got this table.
yeah. So yeah, anyway,
That's
go
fine.
ahead.
So
I'll let you
There
go.
are 3 different families that live in this house, and so you're right, they have a lot of tables for the family. So they're running out of space with all the kids. It's 3 generations at this point, so they do need space.
So that's, yeah, they're all related is what you're telling me, because you can't tell me there are 3 different families.
They all are related, yes.
Because that would not be
But there's 3 separate
appropriate in a
families
single
living
family
that
residence.
are all related. And so we do have this overflow of space. And I don't know if you noticed that the porch that's currently there is very shallow in height. And so they kind of want to deepen the height of the porch so they can have a more open feel to it, get better sight lines. So you'll see with this newer rendering, we keep the existing roof line that's there, but we bring the terrace line down and connect the 2 terrace heights so they're more connected. And so then in that way, we're getting better sight lines, but they're still maintaining the existing roof lines that are in the original architecture. And then, as you can see, we have a fireplace back to back.
Mhm.
One's for s'mores and hanging out in the evening. The other one is for entertaining when they have dining under the terrace or in the covered porch.
And this covered porch does not extend any farther, like as we were talking about the tree, it doesn't extend any farther than where the house ends there.
Actually, can I
as
point
of
out
now.
here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is the existing roof line.
Yeah.
And it just comes across.
Continues.
And then we do pick up with the existing covered porch that comes through. So our intent isn't to expand on that in any way.
You want to keep going? Thank you.
Do you want me to speak to the northern wing, or do you want us to focus on
Well,
this?
so this, and I'm sorry, I called this other area a covered porch, but it's not. It's just an open terrace in the center. So that's the other part that's being added, which is like 1,100 square feet. What is it?
It's
1,500.
it's fairly large now, but we're modifying it, increasing it a bit, and then connecting it. So it adds, yes, we're adding 1,800 square feet to the footprint. But I would also add that we're just at like half of lot coverage. So I
Yes,
don't know if
no,
that
I-
helps to keep
right.
that in the equation.
Mhm. It's a big lot.
It's a big lot. Yeah. And it is to scale. It's a big house too. And this whole terrace and covered porch we feel is in scale with the size of the house.
I guess so, yeah. So this is the inner
This is
view
inside there, yeah.
of that western terrace. And then this is the upstairs where I was saying this leads into the program, and the interior is a bedroom.
Correct.
So I was just curious about all the people.
It's
hanging
like
out on the
entered the
terrace.
space, yeah.
They wanted to maximize, they felt like that second floor didn't get maximum ocean views. And so we're trying to maximize the ocean views by having this porch. And we added a door instead of a double hung, as you can see there.
Man, all you have to look out the window. It's beautiful. Set foot outside. Yeah, so this is where that whole fireplace area would be.
Correct.
Then extended out.
And you can see that how we're keeping the interior doors and windows at the head height. We're just stepping it down to that lower terrace height. And that's how we're getting the extra height for the porch. or that feel of an extra height, basically. With the addition, we also tried to maintain all the existing trim details, shingle color, trim color. The chimney matches the existing chimneys, trying to make it feel like it's.
Yeah, the materials look compatible.
This is from your submission, by the way. I did not take these pictures that look like they're in the fall.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
But actually, if you go back, you could kind of see how the porch is really small for a family this size. And so that's
Well, this one is.
this one.
There is the other one, yeah.
And this is where they want to have more meals looking at the ocean, be out of the sun. And they really don't have that right now.
Because this is off the kitchen.
Yes, correct. And also adjacent to the family room.
All right, so that's, I mean, those are the terraces. So could you explain then, so you're confirming then that the underground, it's just underground space
Right.
that's being added?
Correct.
Okay.
It's just basically 2 extra bedrooms that they need en suite. And it's going to be below grade. It's going to be grassed over. There's going to be 2 area wells with grates flushed with the grass for egress. When it's done, you'll never know it was there.
Okay, and I do have pictures of that side of the building.
And we've already gone through and upgraded all the septic systems. They're all IA.
I did see that on the CO, yeah.
That's great.
I mean, on the property card. So this is the side that you'd be at. Is this correct? This is the area where you're
Yes.
adding?
Correct. Yep.
So basically where that path is sort of the vicinity of where you'd be adding.
I come out here, come across, and then go back in.
Mhm. How does that work with the window wells? That's the thing I couldn't understand.
It's tricky. So we have to do thicker than usual walls. They're basically 4 concrete walls that go down to a window that meets egress. There's a ladder and there's a removable hatch. And the removable hatch is flush with the grass. So you can actually walk on it. It won't be a tripping hazard.
That's what, okay.
It will blend in.
You've seen this before?
Yep, it's done many times.
Okay. Subterranean living at its best.
Trying to get as many windows for natural light as we can.
Sure. Yeah.
And there is also going to be a new stairwell with a French door at the bottom. So that'll bring in extra natural light into the hallway.
That's just to the left of this, yes?
Off to this
That's the cellar
side.
access then, yeah. Okay. So we could look, I don't know, should we look at the plans? Would that
Sure.
help in any way? I'm
I believe it's drawings 2A L, I believe.
And the one thing I did want to point out, and our planner, Dan, did, I don't know if you saw the memorandum that he composed regarding this property. So and I think this was, no, sorry, this was just for this application. There are notes from him regarding the lighting that is being proposed. Right?
Yes. And I think there might have been some confusion. I think there was a thought that this was a whole new proposed project, but it's just the lighting under the covered porch and 2 wall sconces.
Right, but the
proposed.
wall sconces are existing sconces because we don't have specifications for those. Only the LED wafers were
I think we submitted the wall
submitted.
sconces
I
as well.
didn't see it.
Wasn't one of the lights
Oh, that's,
outside
I'm
the
sorry.
range of the Kelvin?
Well, the LED, from Dan's notes, it may exceed the maximum Kelvin, which is 3,000, because the range is up to 5 for
Okay.
the LED wafers. And I wasn't sure whether 4-inch or 6-inch were going to be used, so that would be something to
That needs to be
specify.
resolved, yeah.
Rich
But then
could
the
speak to
wall
that, I believe.
sconces, I didn't see the
And I
specification.
apologize. My associate Rich just reminded me, we're doing hi-hats recessed in the soffit on the second floor, not a wall sconce.
Oh,
So I
not a wall
apologize.
sconce. So that would have to be changed in the
Submission.
It is on there. I'm mistaken in saying it's a wall sconce. I'm
I
sorry.
did see an indication of wall sconces. That's why I'm confused.
Think so, Rich.
It's hard to see because
see
I'm
here.
looking at 11 by 17, so
Yeah.
it's teeny. I should have looked at it on the digital.
I'm looking at the plan. I don't see it drawn in plan. Now I see why we did it, because it's so tight, we couldn't even mount one, I don't think.
Yeah, there was
It's
no-
gotta be in the soffit. It's on 4C, it shows it as an overhead soffit mounted light.
Because we have a projection big enough, as 12-inch projection to get a soffit light, because we did not have enough room to get sconces there. So that's why we didn't put one.
And that's the only location, is that second story?
Correct, that needs lighting per code, and we couldn't actually do the sconce.
Okay.
You want me to show you the plan? I could, just so you see.
We don't have it in the.
It should be in the packet, yeah, it's page 4C.
Pull it up.
You can pull it up, Dan, that would be helpful.
Should be right there.
Right there, right?
Thank you.
I know it's a lot.
That is a symbol, that's a symbol for a ceiling can, not a sconce.
The one that's right in the center.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Above
overhead
the
in
door.
the soffit, yeah.
Okay. I tried looking at
And I
that.
apologize, I
At the-
misspoke.
Okay.
So yeah, it would be just also to determine exactly what the maximum Kelvin is going to be on those
Sure.
LEDs, because they cannot exceed the 3,000.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think the specifications went up to 5, the range.
Yeah, the range
Yeah,
is,
okay, see that, I didn't know that.
right.
So
We can
will-
modify
And that can be something that you can work out with the planning department. Yeah, we
Okay.
just advise on sort of more the aesthetic
Sure.
side of it, but we.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we'll update that.
Okay. Do you want to keep looking at this, or are we, I don't know.
I'm
What are we
okay
all-
if you'd
what
like
are
to
we all
go through
thinking?
it. I'm, if there's more you feel we should review,
No, I
I
think,
think if I'm predisposed toward it, unless you have some reservations.
no, not any in particular.
Hmm.
I mean, 3 families need,
Related families.
God bless
Not
them.
getting it too technical. There is one.
There are a lot of
There
kids.
is one father.
I met one of them today, very sweet.
Holy crow,
uh,
one father. Okay, let's just.
Okay, so-
proceed with our.
If nobody else has anything else to say?
No. No comments, Frank?
Do you have an idea of everything?
Yeah.
Good?
I figured it out.
Okay.
I mean, kind of like the other lot that we can't consider. It's a lot on Further Lane that faces the ocean, and it's a long way from Further Lane, and it's heavily wooded. So I don't have any objection to this.
Yeah, I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not a gross addition, of program or anything like that.
And the
So,
materials are compatible with the building. I think it's a nice, it's a good.
yeah, and
nice
considering the
design.
lack of housing out here, they're
Yeah.
actually with the underground addition providing
Yeah,
space for
okay.
workers. So,
Make a motion?
yeah, just one thing that I want to bring, and maybe this is for you, Jean. As you know, I took a little doing to get into the property today. There are driveway gates on this property. I can't
Oh,
find them
right, yeah.
anywhere on either property card for the lot 3 or lot 4.
Hmm.
Have they been reviewed? Have they been approved? Are
There
they
they are.
compliant?
Flagging it. We're flagging this
Flagging
for
it,
you because
because-
you won't get a CO if those have not been approved by this board. And
And they are very wall-like, so, I mean, unless they were approved over 5 years ago,
Right.
6, whatever it is,
I've
I'd
been
be
working with
surprised.
Eric for 25 years, Eric Woodward, and they've been there ever since we've been working there. I remember that.
25 years?
Yes.
At least.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it might go back to the original house.
Well, they're nowhere
They're
on the
not
property card.
card, so.
And 25 years is ARB within the range of ARB.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm
So-
assuming it goes back that far.
Right, but sometimes people erect gates without approvals.
Sure.
We have this, as you sat here and listened, half the stuff we deal with is, existing gates that don't meet the criteria. So we're just flagging that for your
Okay.
Okay, all right.
information.
Okay, so otherwise, I make a motion to approve the application as submitted.
With the lighting
Oh, yes,
adjustments, right?
please.
Yeah.
Please,
They give you multiple choices, and I do like the 2,700 Kelvin, all the way. We definitely will not choose the 5,000.
Right, well, you can't have a 5,000 because the code
Right,
limits
no,
you
but
to 3. Right, so we're just
the spec showed a variation of 5 different
Right.
things.
Right, we're just trying to,
Yeah, so if you can just submit exactly that fixture.
yeah, we
that'll
can
be
approve
part of
that
the
with that
file.
condition,
Gotcha.
okay?
Okay,
All right,
Is
so,
that-
yeah, that's good. I think that's good. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you. Good luck.
Very much.
I'm telling you, it's a well-oiled machine. All right, now, I am going to read a little bit about his,
May have them in 50.
say again?
I'm gonna have them black woman here come in now.
oh, Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes, please do, yes.
Matt, can you let Will Manier in, please?
I'm just going to.
Sure, letting him in now.
The criteria for agricultural overlay districts and the architectural review board's role in approving buildings and structures on properties located wholly or partly within or on property adjacent to these agricultural overlay districts. And that we are charged with assurance of harmony, which includes exercising sound judgment and with rejection of plans which, in its opinion, our opinion, based on study and advice, are not of harmonious character because of proposed style, scale, materials, mass, line, color, detail, or placement upon the property of proposed buildings or structures, or in relation to the spaces between buildings or the natural character of the landscape, or because of lack of provision for balance between the proposed location and design of structures and adjacent open areas or adjacent existing structures, whether on or off the lot or site in question, among other things. But I'm just going to lob that one out there for the moment because I think it may be relative to this upcoming application, which is number 6. Shoji 7 Town Line Road LLC, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-196-1-2.001. And I see the owners here. You can sit, I think Will is, unless you'd like to come to the podium, we're happy to hear from you. But Will is zooming in and and we know him to be your representative. So we'll let him. Are you with us, Will?
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me on the Zoom.
Sure. Okay, well, this is Diane's application. I just wanted to make sure everything was functional on your end. So I'm going to let Diane take over.
Okay,
And then
great.
I'll ask you for any comments once she's done.
Okay, this has been before us before, and we made several recommendations because of the sensitive nature of the property. And I think it boils down to considering the mass and scale and reducing the maximum roof height. It seems to me that there were lots of numbers and they're very minuscule, but I got a magnifying glass. And it seems to me that you've reduced the overall height of the structure by 1 foot, and that you have moved the property back from the road an additional 22 feet. One thing I question, there's a copse of 3 trees at the beginning of the existing driveway that's very charming, and another very overgrown tree. And those trees do not appear on the survey. So are you planning to remove those trees? Because it's much of what shields the house. So I'd like to know about those trees, and I would like to know if I've missed anything, because I tried to compare the original set to this set, and what I came up with mainly was the 1 foot less in height of the structure and the 22 feet receding.
Right. Front yard setback, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what does that match what we talked about in the pre-meeting today, Dan? I thought it was 6 inches. I didn't think it was a foot.
Per each floor.
Say again?
Per floor was.
Oh, per floor.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so it equals a foot.
It's 10.
Got it. Yep. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly right.
And Will, did you have any, can you respond to Diane's question about the trees?
Sure. Yeah, there are no trees around the perimeter that we plan on touching. I do not believe the new driveway proposed location is affected with that tree. I don't have it surveyed. I can double check that, but we did not propose any perimeter trees to be taken down. Matter of fact, the lot's pretty cleared. I don't think there's any real tree removal.
I know you're keeping the hedges, but I mean, I think those, that copse of 3 trees at where the existing driveway is, I think it would make a huge difference if that vanished, I think.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, so
with-
there's no plans to take those trees down.
Replaced with some little new.
With arborvitae.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could just review what our follow-up letter was, which,
Are there any other changes, Will, that you have made that I wasn't able to ascertain?
Yeah, there were a few others, hopefully not too subtle. We went through the last meeting and the letter. Diane, you had some concerns about glazing across the front. We were sensitive to that. And if you look on this versus the previous renderings, we actually took, and I have an email where I actually spelled out a little more of the things. We reduced the amount of glazing on the front elevation by 50 square feet. Essentially, the middle fixed panes of glass became smaller. And you'll see now there is a solid 8-inch block between the windows, and it's not 4 windows molded together, and that reduced 50 square feet of glazing across the front elevation.
just that vertical strip,
Well, there's 3. They're between every window. So we took about a foot of glass out of 2 windows.
What he means this?
And I guess.
And that equals 50 square feet?
And this block or no?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So the center 2 windows in each gable, we took about a foot of glass out of each first and second floor.
Okay.
Okay.
And added the solid walls between. So that's one thing that we did from the first submission. And Diane, that was sort of directly at your comment, glazing. We did remove a foot of height out of the house, 6 inches on the second floor, 6 inches on the first floor. That flat roofed area, and again, even the eaves. So where the eave starts across the house through the flat roofs, that's all a 9-foot plate height in there. That's 9-foot ceilings. And that was sort of what was recommended and Frank suggested on the second floor. In the gables, we have an opportunity to create some extra ceiling height in there, but it is a 9-foot wall height and a 9-foot plate on the second floor. On the first floor, we're at 10.6, where I think Frank suggested 10-foot would be typical. We're at 10.6. So overall, we did reduce a foot of height out of the house. Pushing the house back, the 22 feet is to the garage edge. And I want to bring up the garage edge. So we did dig different modifications to the garage from the previous rendering. I think Chip had comments about that garage or projecting, or should it be, cut off. 3-car garage was what the owner wanted. What we did is we just reduced the scale of that. We took another foot out of that roof, including the first floor is 18 inches. So that's a very low garage. You see the 9-foot garage doors barely fit. And with that band of wood around the top became less. So we're trying to just visually reduce the impact of that projecting off the house. I do think that helps break up the fact that there are not 3 just of the same gables across the front of the house. So that was a change. Pushing the house back was a change. And the solid posts between the windows. Yeah, so those 4 things were our main ones that we talked about.
Well, we appreciate those changes. Frank, I'd love to hear your.
I think these are very incremental changes, and I think I was expecting perhaps some exploration of I think there was some pretty strong feedback that there was an issue, there were concerns that the board seems to have about like how it's oriented towards the street in terms of its massing. As I expressed, I'm not averse to the materials proposed here. and the architectural language, I think I was just, I looked at this and I said, aren't we looking at what we had last time? And I think I was just expecting more of an evolution of this, I think. My concern about where this goes from here is if we start saying, well, this and that, is that I don't want to give the impression that like all it requires is a tweak here or there. I just, like, I thought it was sort of a reason, or like, what my impression of the last meeting was, yeah, it was too close to the street. And I felt like, okay, we'll continue down this path of perhaps this architectural language here, but I didn't expect it would just sort of be like, let's lower the ceiling heights and move it back. And then it just seems, that's my impression.
So we did look at, and I think Kathleen, as you said, of rotating one of the gables. And as it turns out, this house from the street, and if you go to the front elevation, the first one, which is sort of the ground perspective from the street, the sort of the flat roof area from, like I mentioned, from eave to eave across, the house is only 23 feet tall. There's only 3 peaks that come close to touching the 31-foot mark. If you were to take one of those gables and turn it, you're essentially then having the side of a roof, which then across 30, 40 feet, whatever, you'd be looking at the side of a roof sloping up to that 31 feet. This actually was a lot less massing and scale to keep this, and we directly tried to hit the points that were asked of us. Ultimately, we came back to this as this is probably less mass to the street than it would be if you had that reverse roof ridge running left to right across the house and filling that in with roof as opposed to open sky.
Well, I understand your point. I want to thank you for taking a stab at this, but I think that Frank has hit the nail on the head. And you know, the difficulty I'm having is I hear what you're saying about that. It was my suggestion to orient that the northernmost piece, you know, to see if you could swing it around the back, just so there wouldn't be so much massing on the front. I hear what you're saying about the roof line, but I can't visualize it. It would have been helpful to me to see that. And that would have seemed, I mean, I think, you know, you have, you've made some changes. You've clearly made some changes, but they've been really small ones. And I don't know that that's, frankly, I can't look at this and see and feel like, oh, this looks so much better. It looks so different than the last time. We don't have a side-by-side comparison to the initial submission, but this looks a lot like it to me, even though I know that it's a foot smaller in the, you know, and I understand that you've addressed the glazing. You've made some adjustments. I get it. I get it, and I appreciate that. But I don't know that. I still feel like the whole thing is a lot for the frontage. I'm grateful that you pushed it back. You know, the trees are a valuable part of that landscape.
They're
that I
really
think
important trees.
Yes, Diane's made a very strong and important point that the trees are a visual asset there, but trees don't live forever either. And we're, you know, we're trying to assess this building on this property. It's worth noting, although I don't know how relevant, but you know, these were undersized lots, and when the proposal back in 1977 to subdivide them, they needed a variance for lot width. So the 200 feet is not traditional. So even though you're meeting the setback requirements, it's an unusual lot. So that's part of what you're up against in terms of our visual assessment here, is to look at this on this narrow lot. And I think that's part of the aspect of this aspect of this narrow lot with this broad frontage of building. That's how I feel about it. I don't have any, I think the design is fine. I just think there's just too much of it. It's just too much massing. It doesn't feel harmonious. I don't know that I would be recommending the black for those horizontal roofs there, but I don't object to them specifically. I don't think it's, as Esperanza's been saying, most of the meeting, black tends to recede. So I think over time that would be something we get used to, but it's just those three prominent structures. It looks like three different buildings almost, and I appreciate that, it's a gable, it's meant to look like a barn. I get it. I get all that, but it still just seems too massive and inharmonious to me. So I think maybe take another stab at it, come back to us with another, downsized version if you can.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with everything that's been said so far.
Okay. How about you, Diane?
Yeah, yes, I mean, as I said, I do appreciate the changes you've made, but it doesn't seem to be enough. I mean, this, if you could call it, Dan, if you could pull that up again.
Yeah, that would be the best one to look at right now.
I mean, I think, now, this house next door that's there and existing looks minuscule in comparison to this proposed house. And it is not.
No, it's not a small building.
Whatsoever.
It
When
looms
in
quite large.
reality, it looms quite large and it's very apparent. So, I'm afraid that, given the trees and given everything, I think this house is going to really be like a sort of a blatant, impose on this, if it weren't such a sensitive, if it weren't the core, if it
Yeah, I
wasn't the
understand.
You can
first-
see the farm field right next to it,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I understand the idea of echoing a barn structure,
Right.
which to me, this looks more like a warehouse, but you can see the barn on the horse farm right south of this. It's much more low, and it's a single structure. It's this repetitive motif. We've had this kind of presentation before and haven't looked upon it favorably.
Yeah, I think just try downsizing it a little, reducing the mass is the way I would.
Yeah, I would say a little is not the.
Yes, okay, reduce the mass, and I think, I don't know, I think the structure, part of why I think the neighboring house looks a little more harmonious is that it's not just three massive buildings lined right up in a row. I understand that that's the function of the program to a certain degree, but it still feels inharmonious to me.
Yeah.
So if we could go to the ground view of perspective, and no one sees the house from this, and in honesty, we have a lot more depth, I think, throughout the house. I was able to get plans for that house next door. I don't know if they're the latest plans or the greatest plans, but each gable of ours is almost the same exact size as their gable. They happen to have two of them with a larger space in between, and that reverse roof I was talking about. And then they have single-story elements on the side. That house is actually wider than ours, but it is single-story elements.
I'm just going to stop you now because that house it's much larger than I think we ever envisioned it would be, and
it's reality.
In reality, as it is built, yes. So let's not compare it exactly to that, because I think what you are proposing is equal in prominence as what this presents, if not more.
Right, if it's not more. I mean, I think that this is the best
I think there was a comment made at the last meeting that there's a lot of lot to distribute the program here. It's a very big lot. And so I was expecting more of an exploration of how you might maintain the architectural integrity of what you have here. But I just think something needs to fundamentally shift
yes.
here. And I'll be blunt, as you know, it's going to take 3 votes at least for this to pass this board. Or depending on how many people attend, but you're going to, well, put it bluntly, you're going to need a majority of people for this to be passed. Like a tie vote is not approved. And it just seems to me that we're not heading in a direction. I don't want to speak for others, but I think we need to be blunt in saying there has to be more. We are asking for more of an evolution of this.
Yeah, a better response to the lot
for
and
us
to
to
the
go.
environs.
A more profound response is I think that's a good way to end this discussion. We prefer to work with the applicant than to just flat out deny this, but I think the feedback you're getting is that we're not prepared to approve this tonight. So if you'd like to come back with something, that would be preferable, I think, for all of us, or,
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll come back with only 4 there anyway. It's obvious we need to come back.
All right.
I just want to say, I do feel there were mixed comments the first time. I did not think we were, that far off. I'd be glad to sit and watch the videos from the last meeting and have a committee of 2 meeting and go over some of the sketches we've done between then and now, just to show some of our other line of thinking and how we didn't feel that was actually an improvement in the mass. The house was almost this wide though, so maybe that's the problem. You're looking for a narrower house.
No, yes.
Okay.
We're looking for less massing on the frontage. Yes. Okay.
Got it.
All right, great.
Okay.
All right, thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, have a good summer.
Yes,
Or
thanks.
whatever's
Bye.
happening now. I don't get summer. Some kind of roasting is happening as far as I can tell. All right, so next up is an extension of time. James Petrie, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-187-3-5. Frank, this is yours.
Okay.
And then we'll lead right into the C of O.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is an application for a fence at, sorry, I was still dwelling on the last application. At 10 Collins, sorry.
Yeah, 8 Collins.
8 Collins, which is sort of a shared property. The way you access that, it's a flag lot. It's through a 10-foot wide easement. If we could maybe bring up the survey. Okay, so actually, let's just talk about this is extension of.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're doing the
Okay, so there are 2
extension.
parts of this application coming before us today. One is for what we will talk about. This is for an extension of time. We realized during the meeting last time that between when this was approved by the ARB and the application for the CO, it had expired. So, because it was dated September 27th, 2018. So, for this the applicant is asking for an extension of time
On the approval, so we
on
can,
the
yes,
approval,
right.
so we can.
Yeah, we can't,
approve this.
yeah, we can't provide a CO unless the approval is still current. So that's just an administrative piece.
Which I am fine with because
Okay.
no part of this application appears to have changed.
Great, okay, so you want to make a motion?
Motion for an application of.
Extension of time.
I make a motion for an extension of time for this application as presented.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the extension of time is granted, and now we're going to go on to issuance of certificate of occupancy for the same applicant, same property, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-187-3-5.
So last time at the meeting, there was a little bit I'll present this as a second part. So we are considering here the application for a CO for an as-built fence running on the north side of the lot of 10 Collins Avenue. I'm so sorry. 8 Collins Avenue, which is a flag lot. The fence runs both from the back of this property to the front of 8 Collins and then extends all the way to almost to the street, sort of stepping down in height. And it's going through that easement. So we are not considering that part of that other lot. We are considering what is at 8 Collins Avenue. So what was approved was the way the approval was done by the ARB was sort of a hand sketch over a survey, which you're looking at here, for an 8-foot-high fence to separate this property from the parking of what is now IGA.
Right.
Right. This shows both lots, so how it sort of steps up. So can we go to the photographs, the PDF that shows the photographs? So that is looking from the other property. You can see the parking lot on the left. It starts out as a 4-foot-high fence and then becomes a 6-foot-high fence and then an 8-foot-high fence in our property. So you can see there, that is actually the 6-foot-high fence, which becomes the.
Oh, yeah, there we
Okay,
are.
you see a step up to
Yep.
8 feet right there. So it's not dimensioned on exactly where that is, like distance from property line. Well, from what I can ascertain, this is perhaps a little bit forward. I think what was probably, and it's really guesswork, more conforming to the sketch is what you're seeing on the older fence where it's gray. The newer fence was an 8-foot panel. May not conform, but no dimensions were given from the property line. So my read is, I believe it's sort of up to this board to determine whether this fits the resolution and whether we're okay with it. Bottom line is, I have no problem with this fence. It's separating very busy commercial parking from a private residential area. So I'm.
Sorry, was the resolution only for 8-foot fencing?
It was for. Let me pull up the. We have about 3 surveys here. Here's the recent survey.
This is the reso. Yeah, so the resolution is for stockade fencing of various heights ranging from 5 to 8 feet.
Okay.
Good side and the other location indicated on the approved survey. I think that's
part of the territory.
Yeah.
It's a little nebulous, but that seems.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, this is what was approved by the ARB, this sketch here.
Okay.
But no dimensions are given.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do have concerns about going forward, like what the
record is.
Like what the record is, why can someone encroach the 8 feet all the way to the, because it's not.
Right,
say
it
it's where
should
it's supposed
be,
to
yeah.
stop.
Well, the old resolution does say 5 to 8 feet in various locations, so it's just
It
not.
doesn't say like X feet from the property.
I understand what you mean, yeah. Well, we can we ascertain that? Can we?
Is it on the survey?
No,
No,
The fencing isn't on the survey?
not the dimensions.
not that we can tell.
It's just saying a fence. Where's the, not that survey. This is the survey.
So in other words, there's no solid concrete
Right.
record of.
Yeah, there's no, the dimensions, it just says, yeah, right. And where it is, yeah, it's just hand drawn.
So can we ask for an updated survey that would indicate those dimensions?
Right, I mean.
Right, so you could
If that
say
would make everybody feel,
6 feet there,
better.
5 feet, just basically the as-built of 5 feet in dimension from the property line.
I
5
would,
feet, 6 feet, 8 feet.
What is this?
I mean, if it complies with the resolution, which it does, even if it's, questionably drafted, between 5 and 8 feet.
Yeah, I don't see.
Does it meet the resolution? It does.
I think it
guess
meets the resolution.
I think it meets
I
the
think it does.
resolution.
It's not our typical, it's not following
the precision
the
isn't.
protocols that we're trying
So
to
we can't
establish. but We can't retroactively.
impose and say it's
No.
as built, it's going to be this. We
Right,
just say it
we have,
conforms to the
I think so,
resolution.
yes,
As
which
vague
it
as that
does, as
may
vague
be.
as the resolution may be. Yeah.
Okay,
And going forward, we'll
Okay.
just, we'll be tighter on these things, so.
okay, so who
I'm
has, I
satisfied
forgot
with
my
Oh, right,
cheat sheet.
here you go, here's your cheat sheet.
Oh, my.
Okay, sorry.
So does anyone have any questions?
No, thank you.
I make a motion to instruct staff to inform the building department that the applicant has satisfied the conditions of the ARB approval and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, passed and carried. I am going to leave you in Esperanza's capable hands
For the last application.
for the
that's
last, yes, the last application, which is hers, and to read the resos into the record.
Right,
So
yes.
Frank, you have to sign them. They're
Okay.
here.
mine. Okay,
Okay.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going off too.
and enjoy.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be, hopefully it will be successful.
All right, hopefully you don't have to play in traffic as I did coming here. All right, so number 9 on the agenda is Verizon at 106 Stephen Hans Path, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-193-2-4. This is for a 110-foot steel gray multi-carrier unipole antenna with 8 antenna concealed within. This was a resolution from 28th of January of 2021. And then there was a subsequent modification to the resolution on December 9th. The resolution from the 28th of January was for the antenna, the 110-foot steel gray antenna, a 10 by 17-foot concrete pad with equipment, which includes a propane generator. For the January resolution, it was called out as a 250-gallon propane tank. In December, that was modified to a 500-gallon propane tank on a 4 by 10 concrete pad. The entire enclosure or compound is 1,353 square feet, and there's an 8-foot high fence, chain link fence surrounding it with a 12-foot wide access drive. So as this is a locked compound, I can't get in there and measure it, nor would I. I mean, I think that's not my responsibility. And I can't measure the 110-foot antenna. So I think it's all complies with the resolution as far as I can see. And unless anyone has any questions, I make a motion. Yeah, well, you can see this from the beach across Georgica Pond. It's lovely. I make a motion to instruct staff to inform the building department that the applicant has satisfied the conditions of the ARB approval and a certificate of occupancy can be issued. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. And then we'll move to the resolutions. Did you sign both?
Oh, there's another one.
Yes, there's one more. So I have John Nayland, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-200-1-5. That's all I have to do, right? Read that. Does it need the address?
No.
Okay. And then a second one, and that will be it. And second resolution It's the Linman Residence, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-172-3-23. And those have been signed, and thank you, everybody. I think I can make a motion to close the meeting.
Yep.
To do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second.
okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.